Ramses II, often called Ramses the Great, was more than just a pharaoh. He was a force of nature, a master of legacy, and one of the most influential rulers in the history of ancient Egypt. Born around 1303 BCE into the powerful 19th dynasty, Ramses entered a world already shaped by strong dynasties and towering gods. But from the moment he rose to prominence, it became clear that Ramses wouldn't merely follow in the footsteps of his ancestors. He would eclipse them. The son of Pharaoh Seti, Ramses was groomed from a young age to carry the weight of empire. His father made him prince regent by the age of 14, placing him in a position of power and responsibility that would harden his leadership instincts. Early on, Ramses grew up among elite warriors, priestly advisors, and architectural masterminds, developing a unique blend of military prowess, political cunning, and spiritual charisma. When Seti died, Ramses was ready not just to rule, but to reshape Egypt in his own image. Ascending to the throne around 1279 BCE, Ramses II inherited a kingdom that was both powerful and threatened. The Egyptian empire stretched wide, from the fertile banks of the Nile to the edges of Canaan and Nubia. Rival powers like the Hittites loomed large in the north. Ramses wasted no time asserting his dominance. Within the first few years of his reign, he led massive military campaigns into the Levant, confronting enemy coalitions and rebellious territories. His most famous military engagement, the Battle of Kadesh in 1274 BCE, became one of the most legendary battles in ancient history. Though the confrontation ended in a tactical stalemate, Ramses seized the opportunity to craft a powerful narrative of heroism. According to temple inscriptions he commissioned, he charged into battle alone, rallying his scattered troops and turning the tide by sheer force of will. Whether fact or embellished propaganda, the story worked. Ramses cast himself as a god of war, a king who commanded not just armies, but destiny itself. Beyond warfare, Ramses too was obsessed with legacy. He understood that immortality didn't come from battle scars alone, it came from stone. His building projects redefined the Egyptian landscape. Across the Nile Valley, his name appeared on colossal statues, obelisks, temples, and stelae. One of his most iconic contributions was the creation of the temple complex at Abu Simbel, carved directly into a mountain in Nubia. The four massive seated statues of Ramses that guard his entrance still inspire awe today. Inside, the sanctuary was aligned so that sunlight would strike the innermost chamber on specific days. Each year, illuminating statues of the gods and of Ramses himself seated as their equal. This was no coincidence. It was cosmic engineering, an architectural testament to divine kingship. Another monument to his reign was the Ramesseum, a grand mortuary temple in Thebes dedicated to his cult. Its massive columns and inscriptions told tales of his victories, while its inner sanctum served as centers for ritual and remembrance. But perhaps even more impressive than his religious monuments was the city of Ramesses, a sprawling capital in the Nile Delta that became a hub of administration, military power, and royal spectacle. It was filled with chariot stables, granaries, temples, and palaces, every inch of it a statement of wealth and control. Through Ramesses, Ramses centralized his rule and projected power across the empire. Ramses was also a skilled diplomat. After years of conflict with the Hittites, he brokered the world's first known international peace treaty. Written in both Egyptian and Akkadian cuneiform, the treaty not only ended hostilities, but also pledged mutual defense and cooperation. To seal the alliance, Ramses married a Hittite princess, strengthening ties through both politics and blood. This was a ruler who understood that sometimes the pen and the wedding ring could achieve what the sword could not. At the heart of Ramses' royal life was his queen, Nefertari. She was no ordinary consort. Her influence was immortalized in her tomb in the Valley of the Queens, which remains one of the most beautifully decorated burial sites in all of Egypt. In it, she is depicted as equal in stature to the gods, lovingly guided through the afterlife. Ramses built a temple for her next to his at Abu Simbel, a rare and powerful gesture that reflected both affection and status. He called her the one for whom the sun rises, a line etched into stone for eternity. Ramses' family was vast. He fathered over 100 children, including at least 50 sons and 50 daughters. His sons were placed in high-ranking military and religious positions, extending his influence across Egypt and beyond. Some of his daughters were elevated to royal priestesses or queens. His court was a dynasty unto itself, a complex network of alliances, ambitions, and succession plans. His 13th son, Merneptah, eventually succeeded him, continuing the dynasty well into old age. Religion played a central role in Ramses' reign. He didn't just serve the gods, he joined them. In temple after temple, he appears in divine form, often standing shoulder to shoulder with deities like Amun-Ra, Horus, and Osiris. This wasn't mere symbolism. Ramses blurred the lines between mortal and divine, recasting himself as a living god on earth. He participated in elaborate rituals, celebrated jubilees, and marked his role with festivals that reaffirmed his vitality and cosmic legitimacy. His role wasn't just political, it was spiritual theater on an empire-wide scale. His reign of 66 years made him one of the longest-reigning monarchs in human history. During that time, Egypt reached a cultural and territorial peak. Trade flourished, arts and literature blossomed, and Egypt's borders remained strong and secure. Foreign powers respected and feared him. People revered him as a living legend. He became the measuring stick by which all future pharaohs were judged. When Ramses finally died, likely around the age of 90, he had outlived many of his wives, children, generals, and rivals. His body was mummified and entombed in the Valley of the Kings, but his rest was not eternal. Robbers forced priests to move his remains multiple times to protect them. His mummy was eventually rediscovered in a royal cache, and in the 20th century was even flown to France for preservation, where it received a formal passport. His listed occupation? King deceased, and still, Ramses endures. His monuments remain, his inscriptions tell stories, and his image stares back at us across millennia. To the Greeks, he became Ozymandias. To historians, he is a linchpin of the New Kingdom. To the modern world, he is proof that power, if paired with vision and sheer audacity, can echo across eternity. Ramses wasn't just a ruler, he was a phenomenon, and his legacy is carved not only into the stone of temples, but into the very idea of what it means to rule, to build, and to never be forgotten.